Coming up next on the SPNN Forum, we have James Popeye Greer and Jellybean Johnson to talk about the Minneapolis Sound Museum. Hi, I'm Martin Ludden, Executive Director of the St. Paul Neighborhood Network, and we are here in the Kwame McDonald studio at SPNN with James Popeye Greer and Jellybean Johnson to talk about the Minneapolis Sound Museum. James, Jellybean, welcome to the forum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you. This will be my last forum interview, and I think this is one of my more exciting ones, so I'm looking forward to it. Can you tell us a little bit, and either one of you can start, what is the Minneapolis Sound?
Okay, for me, the Minneapolis Sound, well, I always gave Prince the credit for being the Minneapolis Sound, but obviously the Minnesota music period came years ago, starting Bob Dylan and all the other bands before us and stuff. But as far as us being from the north side and the black side, we grew up in rival bands. You know, Prince was in a band called Grand Central, I was in a band called Flight Time, and we were like 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. And that's where it began. That was the infant stages of it. Yeah. And then, of course, in 1978, when Prince made it, you know, he set the example for us, you know, and he came on the world in 1978, and that's where it initially started, you know. All those things that we grew up learning, you know, as a teenage band, and all the music we, you know, listened to and encountered, you know. You know, prime example, I'll tell you a little short story about me. You know, my mom moved me here from Chicago when I was 13. Okay. To keep me out of the gangs in Chicago and stuff. And I came here. And it was a culture shock for me, because when I was a little shorty growing up in Chicago, in my first 12, 13 years old, there was 24-hour black radio. Okay. So it was black radio all the time, you know. And then when I got here, the black station was only on like 3 or 4 hours.
And what were those, like,
it was like an afternoon from like 1 to 5. Okay. In the afternoon. So after I got over the initial culture shock, then it forced me to listen to the white radio stations, the Three Dog Nights, and Black Sabbaths, and Rare Earths, and Carl, you know, whoever during that time and stuff. So it started to shape me musically too, you know, that I got into that and stuff. And then, but I still could go to the store and buy all the black hits. Like, you know, I was aware of them from that, even from that 1 to 5, you know, on the radio. I still knew what was a hit with the black radio and all that stuff. So it helped define me as a musician, started to develop me as a musician. And, you know, and then I started to meet, you know, future comrades. You know, I met Prince when I was 12 years old. Yeah. I played basketball with him on his driveway at 12, 13 years old. Yeah. And all the other guys, the Jimmy Jams, Terry Lewis's, the Monty Moyers, David Islands, Cynthia Johnson, you know, she was missing, you know, remember the song Funky Town? Yeah. Yeah. You know,
Lip Sync, right?
Lip Sync. Yeah. She was in our band as a 15, 16-year-old. She was our lead singer.
So what did that scene look like when you're, you know, 14, 15, playing in bands? Where were you playing? Well,
we were playing just private things. The thing, because remember, we couldn't play the clubs. We couldn't play the nightclubs. It was still segregated. You know, we were still black bands and couldn't play. So we played a lot of black sororities and stuff, and the locals, VFW or Legion or whatever. I met Pop around 1975, 1976. That
was my next question. Where'd you come in?
I met him. He actually bought a Spotlight, and he would, you know, we were quite organized when Flight Time as a band. We had a bus. Yeah. We didn't take any money from the gigs we did have. We took it all into buying instruments for each other. Bought me a drum set. We bought Terry a bass amp. We bought a bus to haul all the stuff in. Took the seats out so we could have enough room in the back to put the organ in the B3. Yeah. And then we had enough seats for all and you're talking about 11, you know, 10, 11 piece band. Yeah. And then we had Pop, you know, Pop had the Spotlight and all that kind of stuff. So we were quite organized to be, you know, 15, 16, 17-year-old teenagers.
Were you part of that? Like, were you following? Were you managing? What were you doing when you? I'm picturing you buying a Spotlight as a way to get in.
I was the Pied Piper of Soul.
There he was. He was pre-Jerome, man. What Jerome ended up being for Morris, he was us for Flight Time as a band. He'd get the party going.
Get the party going and keep the party going. Yeah. And you know, back then, you know, bells and whistles were part of the music. You know.
Yeah.
like Kool and the Gang and all
Oh,
the
yeah,
music and
yeah.
whistle and bell.
We
So
love
I
Kool and the
had
Gang.
every whistle and bell you could think of.
Yeah.
And
Funky stuff, Jungle Boogie, all that kind of stuff.
I'm on the spotlight, you
Yeah.
know, whistles and bells, and then I start the party off. Pied Piper comes through the crowd,
Yeah,
get
yeah.
people up dancing, and we go up. Well, one time we were playing, as you know, being mentioned earlier, we was a battle.
Yeah,
So we were
battle
playing,
bands,
and
yeah.
Prince always wanted to close. But,
Yeah.
well, why did he do that?
Yeah, we got him.
'Cause Flight Time, the band, we was vicious, right?
Yeah, we were vicious.
Well, we took no prisoners, right, man? So we played Butler Square, downtown
Butler
Minneapolis.
Square, yeah.
And they had the escalators.
Yeah.
And so I had people partying behind us, and we was, you know, we did all those cover tunes. I was up the escalator, down the escalator, people around it, and then Prince came on. They were like tired,
Yeah.
sitting there. He would always get mad at me and cuss me out. you
Yeah,
know. He got everybody
didn't
tired.
like it. He
I was
didn't like it.
"Hey,
We used to
don't
let
follow
him-
us then.
That's when it was so ironic when he created the time and stuff, and we were being concert, and the same thing was happening to him around the country. He's like, I can't believe this is happening again. Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to get at him.
So you were the hype guy.
Hype guy.
Yeah, he was.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so were you playing covers, originals? What was the?
We had some originals, but it was mostly covers. We were, you know, we were unique because we had like a 5-piece horn section.
Yeah.
So we could play all the Ohio Players and the Kool and the Gangs and whatever horn band was out there. We were playing all that, and Prince loved that. But his band was a combo, a little combo. So I really think that helped develop his sound too, because he learned how to play horns. The unique sound in Minneapolis, part of the Minneapolis sound is the synthesizers, the Oberheim synthesizers. And you know Prince's early work, you hear they're prominent.
Yeah.
That's from watching us as, you know, teenagers on the horn section, doing it live. Yeah.
Right.
That's where he got that from.
That was my next, so kind of my follow on there is, so we know the bands, but like how would you define, what is the sound? Like what makes that sound the Minneapolis sound? Is it,
Well,
so you said
we're
it's the synthesizers?
we're tight, we're funky.
Yeah.
We're different. We don't sound like any. I've gotten in trouble with a lot of my peers, famous peers and stuff, because I said that we're not a normal R&B band. We never were. Prince is not normal.
Yeah.
And I said that, and they get mad. You know.
Yeah, you know, R&B.
But we're not. You know, we were always different than your average R&B band. We still are to this day.
Yeah.
But it was R&B funk.
Yeah.
It was a
But it was
touch
pop.
of jazz.
Yeah, it was pop
was
in there
pop.
too. Yeah, yeah.
It was rock.
Yeah, yeah. It had all
Mixed
the
up,
elements.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Mixed up.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and it's, I don't think people would think necessarily that Minneapolis would be a hotbed of funk.
Oh, no. We was just talking about that off air, you know. First of all, it's too cold.
Right.
And back then, Pop knows, back then, man, we used to have vicious snowstorms here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We had to have snow up around our heads, man.
Didn't stop us, though.
It didn't stop us. It didn't stop us. And, because we'd be in our house. If we wasn't, we'd be practicing somewhere, inside, shedding, trying to get better at our instrument.
Right.
But it'd be a blizzard outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to stay warm somehow.
Yeah. So that was a good way of passing your time, It was funny, in my high school years, I was on, I played for the basketball for the team. I was starting center and stuff. And then I would do that, go to practice stuff, then come home and go to another practice with the band and do that till like 9, 10 o'clock and then go home and try to sleep and start all over and do it all the next day. You got basketball practice and then you got band practice. So the good thing about it kept me out of the streets doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the good thing. My
I
mom,
mean, you could do some crazy stuff on stage too, but
but
different kind.
it's different than in the street,
Yeah.
trying to steal cars and all that crap, so.
Well, and like drumming's a pretty physical
Oh, yeah.
pursuit.
You
so
have to stay on your
basketball
game.
probably sets you well for that.
Yeah. Basketball helped with all that because, drums are physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm picturing like that mix where you all are, basketball.
Yeah.
Practicing.
We had
at
a few
night,
was that
going out to gigs.
Yeah,
How often were you playing? Like, was this a weekly gigs?
It wasn't quite that. It was when it was convenient. Like I said, we were limited in where we could play in the first place. So.
Right.
So when we wasn't playing, that's the thing. When we wasn't playing a gig, we were rehearsing.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter, If we got a gig, that was to generate money to buy some more equipment, buy a PA. Pop, we used to buy a PA and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever band we like I said, we didn't take a salary, we didn't take any money.
Yeah.
We put all our money
Just turn it back
into the band, which I have to give us credit during that time because most teenagers today you would no, that's not gonna happen. oh no, any money we make, no, we split it up.
Yeah.
Us, we didn't do that. We had that business sense at an early age, at a teenage age.
Well, it takes a lot of discipline to do that.
It takes a ton. It takes a ton.
Yeah. So moving from Flight Time, the band,
Okay.
what did that progression look like as you all grew up? Because Flight Time became a label.
Yeah, it became a production company.
company.
Well, that started, the Prince kind of helped that along too, because he fired Terry Jimmy out at the time after after they missed a gig in San Antonio. And it just started that, so they turned that into writing songs.
Yeah.
And the first hit, I think, was SOS Band. I think was the first hit.
Yeah, it was definitely SOS.
Yeah. And that they turned into that, and that turned Flight Time into a production company.
Yeah.
And then just from there, so then when Prince fired me a few years later, I joined them and started doing production work for them. Pop was their operation manager from the very beginning. He was doing stuff for them.
And that was, you keep beating me to my next question, which is
Yeah.
great. So how did your role, going from the Pied Piper, how did your role get more formal then?
Well, Terry just said, he needed me to, look at the overall operation of the studio. So, because he was still going out recording, like he'd go to Atlanta and record SOS, or he'd go out to LA.
Yeah.
And so I kept the studio running while he was gone.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you, that's, depending on, I guess, on how the studio runs, that's some pretty technical stuff. Did you just learn this on the fly, or did you
I
have
learned from one of the greatest recording engineers ever, Steve Hodge.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like a sponge, I'm sitting there learning, I'm learning how to ask questions. I was never afraid to ask questions. So, of course, one of my gigs was I was in education.
Okay.
So I started in education in 1973, and I just retired.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 49 years in education. So, I didn't have I had no problems asking questions. So I was learning, and I was a sponge on that. And then I'd work with Jellybean on.
He recorded a lot
Recorded
of my guitar solos and stuff, and me and him into the
Black
wee hours
Cat?
morning.
Black Cat,
Yeah.
Janet Jackson, Black Cat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have him.
Alexander O'Neal.
Yeah. That's Innocent, all that stuff. Fishnet.
Yeah. New Edition.
New Edition, Crucial. Yeah.
Rhonda Clark.
Rhonda Clark. Yeah. Come on, man.
Oh, okay.
Tell how old we
Karen
are.
White.
Karen White. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I was taped an interview a little bit ago with a married couple that was clearly had been together for a long time.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We're doing the thing, and
Yeah.
I imagine if somebody sat down with my best friend, we
Yeah.
would have a similar kind of conversation. But listening to you guys just bounce.
Go back. You're talking about the 70s.
Been
man.
doing this a while.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
We're not young.
We'd work the studio,
Yeah.
and then we'd take a break. And when we take a break,
That's when
we
we
run
would go
out to the club.
Run out to the clubs, and that's when we saw Mid Condition.
Found condition, and then we go out to the club. And the one song that Alexander has called "Midnight Run," where every midnight he'd make a run. He'd go to get the newspaper, the Star Tribune, and they'd come out at midnight.
Yeah.
He'd make that run every night. So they said, "Oh, Midnight Run." That was a song by Alexander O'Neal they decided to write because of his midnight run. Yeah. And so we were at the Riverview Supper Club, and we heard this dramatic drum opening, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we it caught out, and we turned around. It was Mint Condition.
Mid Condition.
And at that time, Michael Bland was the drummer.
Yeah, Michael Bland.
But Michael Bland, Prince, I'm not going to say stole him.
No,
He
but
signed him
signed,
before our
yeah.
contract came for
Enticed.
Mint Condition,
Yeah.
so he played with Prince. But
Yeah. But
yeah, he was the original
Mike,
drummer.
Mike was the original drummer, wasn't he?
He was the original
I forgot
drummer for
about
Mint
that.
Condition.
And the crazy thing about Mint is, Stokely's a world-class musician, but he's a world-class drummer.
As well, yeah.
He is scary on the drums, So that's
Actually
it.
started out as a drummer.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then they needed a singer.
They needed a
and then they
singer.
said, Stokely, will
Well,
you
they
sing?
sing it when you go
then
up
he
play,
went
I say.
front,
Well, and
know.
that's
Yeah.
singing and drumming at the same time.
yeah.
There's not a lot of
World-class
not a lot to leave on.
musicians there, man.
Yeah.
They're out of St. Paul. They all went to St. Paul Central,
Central,
Yeah.
And they had a great studio over there and a music teacher.
They had a music teacher that was
Excellent
just
music
excellent
teacher
too.
over there.
They learned a lot, kind of similar to us. Yeah. So once again, that goes back to my thing about the Minnesota we have one of the best music,
Yeah.
music scenes around. We always have. We've been blessed. Yeah.
If you are just joining us, we're here in the Kwame McDonald studio with James Popeye Greer and Jellybean Johnson talking about the Minneapolis Sound and the Minneapolis Sound Museum. So that, you said you'd go out to the club, take a break, go out to the club. What venues were, where were you finding music? Where were you going? Because I feel like,
wow.
I stepped out of the Cedar the other night, and there used to be, you could step out of the Cedar and see
the Union Bar.
You could see, and I'm a little younger than you, but Five Corners, the 400 Bar.
400 Bar, all that. I used to go to all that stuff.
Yeah, and so many of them are closed now.
Yeah,
so what were the venues? Where were you going?
Nakarima, over South Minneapolis, a private club.
We had the Cozy Bar. My stepfather used to be a bartender at the Cozy Bar years ago, Jimmy Fuller, and then that turned into
Peacock Alley.
Peacock Alley.
Blue Note.
Blue Note, the establishment. Moby Dick's.
Okay.
God, man, there's so many.
Let's not forget the Thunderbird.
Oh,
that was one of our favorites.
That was on our favorite.
The hotel, right?
On the Strip, yeah.
Like out in Bloomington?
Yeah.
That was one of our spots that the sororities and the fraternities always booked that spot.
Booked that spot.
We'd wear it out
We'd wear it out, as a teenage band. Eddie Webster's, that used to be on the Strip. God, there's so many. I put the post like that the other day on my Facebook, and it's about hundreds of people just probably up clubs I had forgot about.
The Cozy Bar and Lounge turned into the Riverview Supper Club.
Yeah.
And where was that?
That was off the river.
It was off the river.
Broadway.
And
off the river there.
Yeah, down
by the Pizza Broadway bar down there.
They just recently tore down the Broadway bar there, and now they turned down everything from that. They say affordable housing out there. We won't get into that, but yeah.
So as you're still playing. Where are you playing now?
All over around the country.
Yeah.
Here locally, there's bunkers you can see with the young kids. I got so many young. They call me. They're like my young nephews.
Call them Uncle Bean.
They call me Uncle Bean, and they're world-class musicians. Like I said, they're gonna be carrying on this music way after I'm gone. They're gonna still be here, just killing. So there's Bunkers, there's Shaw's, there's Minnesota Music Cafe that I played in for 25 years over there. Karen, I love her to death.
That's on the east side,
Karen
right?
Pop. That's St. Paul, 7th and Payne, on the edge of downtown St. Paul. You still have your, what am I leaving out? You still have the cabooses over there. You still have
Whiskey Junction.
Whiskey Junction. You still have the Fine Line that's still downtown. I'm leaving somebody out that's going to be mad.
First Ave.
First Ave, First Ave,
Yeah.
So we still have, there's a lot of places you can go around here.
You're talking about coming up in a time where you could wander into a club and see in condition.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you walked out of the club. Even when you were younger, you walked out, and then you said you'd have the 7 Corners here, you have 400 Bar there. I used to jam in the 400 Bar.
Yeah.
And like I said, the Union Bar, you said that was before you, but I've seen many blues great in there.
Yeah. But there are still places where you can go.
There's still places you can go and still see bands to this day.
Yeah.
You can still go. There's a lot of places you can go. You just have to take your time and find them. But they're there. You just have to be willing to go there. Right. The Northeast, there's a ton of bars over there, music bars and dive bars over Northeast. Yeah. Like I said, Shaw's. There's May Slacks, 331 Club, all that. Yeah. So they're everywhere.
So as you come around to the Minneapolis Sound Museum, what's the vision there? What is the museum gonna? Tell us where you're at with it.
Well, we're in the infant stages of it. We're asking for capital and stuff and trying to build it up. We want to have a spot where we can tell the rest of the story. Paisley's there. Prince has Paisley. Paisley's a big museum now and all that stuff. But there's a lot of people that helped Prince develop what he came, and that all started on the north side. Yeah. And so we want to have our museum to show the other people that came up along with him that helped develop him into him to being the musical force that he turned into. Yeah. And we don't have that. Paisley's way out there in Chanhassen. He built that whole thing. You see Chanhassen now. When he built Paisley, man,
Chanhassen came to him
out there. Yeah. Now you go out there, you don't recognize it.
Right.
And that's because of him.
Yeah.
You know, now they just named the highway, for which they should, because he developed that whole thing out there. So we kind of want to do the same thing on the north side and bring up all the other people that, you know, helped us and him develop into that sound.
Yeah.
Stuff. So we want to try, ideally, to find a place over north to put the museum, and have something positive over there. You know, have something positive. So that's what we're doing.
So what kind of, you know, who, I guess kind of the who and the what, what are we going to, when it's up, you know, what are we going to see?
You're going to see various things out of my career, out of the various careers. Like I said, people that wasn't, you know, people that were associated with Prince, people that wasn't, you know, and just that whole different side. Andrea Swanson has a book out where she talks about all the stuff and what the struggle we had as black musicians going through. So we want to show that whole thing of the other musicians beside, you know, Prince. Prince made in 1978, but there's a host of us, like I said, like I was talking about the teenage years with Flight Time and all that. It's a whole other host of people, like, you know, there's that Andre Simone and the different people that came from that era, you know, from that era, you know, that we can talk about, the Alexander O'Neills, you know, all the people like that, you know. Whereas you won't see that much at Paisley. You know, Paisley's devoted to Prince and the time and all the people that were associated with him, but a lot of those bands didn't come from the North Side.
Right.
They didn't. So.
And so a huge part of Flight Time sound, there's a couple of names that we're going to throw out there that's going to be in the museum, like Lisa Keith. Lisa Keith is a very big part of the Flight Time sound, especially the vocal parts.
The vocal parts, yeah.
She was most of that. They would say the other girl
Yeah,
was singing on the background and filling in all the spots. Oh, she was just phenomenal.
All that heavenly background vocals, that was her. That was Lisa Keith.
Lisa Keith, so.
Yeah. And her husband is
Bernard.
Spence Bernard, yeah. He was my first production partner at Flight Time. When I first started producing, we did a song called Why Should I Cry for Nona Hendrix, and that was me and him. You know, and he's the one that got me into the computer technology for that and all that stuff.
And that was at Rockside.
Yeah.
Then the band that you worked with, the rock band, Harlem.
The Harlem Yacht Club, yeah. You know.
That's a great name.
Yeah, we have a song on, called Brother Will on the Mo Money music soundtrack and stuff. The album never came out. That kind of never saw light of day. I wish it had. We were kind of like, remember, you know, the rock band Living Color? We were kind of along those same lines and stuff. So.
Of course, we mentioned earlier Cynthia Johnson, of course.
Yeah.
You know, lip sync.
Yep.
So that's what our museum is going to be more like that. The people like that you know, that wasn't prominent, quite as prominent as Prince, but was part of his upbringing and part of, he came up knowing who we were and all that, and looking up to us too. Yeah.
Well, to me, the little stars behind the big stars that shine, like Prince and Jam and Lewis, they were those stars. Always say the little stars make the big stars shine bright.
Jam and Lewis and Prince had a lot of help.
Yeah.
That's just said. That's basically what we're saying.
Yeah. So you've got kind of there's a cadre of folks here who maybe haven't seen as much limelight. Are most of them still with us? Still around?
Some of them are gone, but there's still a few. There's a few around, yeah.
Kind of a chance to give them some flowers.
So they can smell their flowers before leave Earth. We all in the fourth quarter around here, so.
On June 7th, we're going to showcase some of them.
We're at the Capri Theater, another classic theater. Prince played his first show at the Capri Theater.
They just did a big renovation.
It looks totally different.
Millions of dollars in.
Millions of dollars in renovating that stuff. I used to go there as a shorty, you know, and watch all the black exploitation movies. I used to go back in the 70s and that before, you know, and he played his first show in there. That had been 1978, something like that.
So tell me, you mentioned the June 7th event. What's going on in that event?
It's going to be Tales of the North Side, and we're going to have a group of panelists that, you know, come that helped develop that, like Spike Lee from Spike Moss from. So I'm going to cut that out.
The Way.
Spike Moss from The Way. Q Bear from KMOJ, Spencer Bernard and Lisa Keith are going to be one of our panelists. Pierre Lewis, who's a 13-year-old wonder kid that used to be at The Way. He's going to be in my band that I'm going to have there. Somebody else I'm leaving out.
Bobby Van Dale.
Bobby Van Dale, who
on
I played in
drums.
another classic band here called TC Jammers. That was a musical institution here I was part of for 10 years. It's like 30, 40 years, but
Yeah.
I've been 10 years in it.
Yeah.
Ricky Kitchen. with,
Ricky Kitchen from Mint Condition,
Okay.
you know, he's going to be.
And the great, phenomenal Sue Ann Caldwell.
Aaron Carwell's going to be our lead singer that day.
vocals,
Okay.
along with
Kathleen Johnson, whose brother is Kirk Johnson, who was Prince's long time.
So we're going to have some panels, some stories.
Some panels and
some
stories
music.
and some music at the end.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to it. And get your tickets today.
Christopher Troy's
Christopher
on keyboards
Troy,
too, is playing with.
he's in the time with me. He's
Yeah.
the current time keyboard player. He's coming to play. And who else am I leading? I think that's it. Yeah. Basically, that's the band.
You got an all-star band.
Yeah,
Oh,
all-star band.
Jellybean.
And me, well, I'm here for comic relief. Yeah.
Great. So you got all-star band, you got stories.
Yeah.
You got a chance to see the new Capri Theater, and I assume also raise some funds for.
Raise some funds. We're gonna have an art collection. Peyton,
Silent auction.
silent auction. Peyton is who's amazing artist around here. He's done a bunch of murals around here and stuff. He's gonna be showcasing some of his stuff. He just had a show out at the White Bear Lake Arts Center.
Yeah.
He is a phenomenal artist. I mean, a lot of these murals you see on these buildings around there, he did. You know,
Very
so-
cool.
So I'm looking forward to that, you know. And another big thing over there is that what's the coffee shop over north there? Is the Get Down Coffee or something? Is that it? I think that's it, yeah. Houston, his name is Houston something, Houston White, yeah. So, you know, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
You know, there's gonna be a lot of people.
Sounds like a good event.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And if people wanted to find more info on this, they could go to the website, which
Website,
is
MinneapolisSoundMuseum.org.
cool.
Yeah.
And I think there should be a ticket link on there.
There's a ticket
for
link
the
on
June
there
7th
and all
event,
that,
too.
June 7th and all that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a.
Doors open up at 6 o'clock.
Doors open at 6
Okay.
o'clock. You can also find me on my. I have to shout out another one of my musical nephews, Eric Rogers, and Five and Dime Paisley thing. He's been promoting it pretty much too.
Cool.
And yeah, so we got a lot going on here, man. And at the same time, I'm still trying to work and pay the bills. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is James and Jellybean. Thank you so much for sharing your time generously with us
Absolutely.
here.
Absolutely.
But also just kind of a look at the Minneapolis Sound and what that was and what it continues to be.
Yeah.
We're excited for the museum.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks
thanks
for
for
being here.
caring, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
We have been here in the Kwame McDonald studio today with James Popeye Greer and Jellybean Johnson talking about the Minneapolis Sound and the Minneapolis Sound Museum. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.